Hey everybody, Earl Flamata here from the Cryptopolitan podcast, and today's guest is Rex from DeFiSafety. How you doing, Rex?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for jumping on the show today.
My
Uh,
pleasure.
let let's dive right in. Why don't you tell us about DeFiSafety and the project, and what you're working on?
First of all, thank you for taking the time. DeFi safety started right at the beginning of DeFi summer, so May 2020. And the goal was basically twofold.
Mm.
One, to help DeFi users know what is safe and what is not, primarily
All
from
right.
a technical perspective. And two, to help developers of DeFi protocols know what they should put on their website for information so that people have the information to trust their protocol.
That makes
And
sense.
we've been at it pretty steadily for 4 years. We've done over 600 reviews,
Mm.
many protocols, many times. Some's like Uniswap, Compound, Aave. We've done once or twice a year for quite a while. Um, uh, we're chain and coin agnostic.
Okay.
We sometimes I regret it, but we didn't release a token um, back when things were booming,
Mm.
fundamentally because we really want to be impartial and fair.
Yes. No, I
And
think that,
a
that makes
token
sense, right?
just muddies that water badly.
Well, the moment you do, there's a little bit of just leaning towards that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, it just distorts things.
fair enough. So when you're teaching people about DeFi safety and whatnot, and you're helping people get the education so they can do their own due diligence, what are the most common things that people forget to post about their projects, about their
I mean, there's sort of things that they sort of forget or that they don't do. And honestly, it's been getting worse because um especially in the more meme centric world that
yes,
we're going into,
right.
diligence is becoming less important.
Mm,
And so the amount of stuff that used to be on a website in the early days when they wanted DeFi to be for everyone,
hmm.
and they really were trying to cast a wide net. Honestly, it was pretty good. People would, I mean, it was immature, obviously. A lot has been added with levels of
Mm,
maturity and complexity, but people were willing to add things. Now, there is more complexity, but people put in less data because being diligent about your transparency
yes.
doesn't pay back that much. It doesn't, will it pump uh your token price? Will it bring TVL? Not so much, mostly because of where DeFi is going, which is something that it's been rather disturbing to watch.
So the trend has been kind of a downwards one, then you're saying.
I would say, especially over the past year, we
Mhm.
haven't been bringing in new people. Um, it's very complicated. We try to educate people on what to do, but there's so much choice now. It's very complicated. So you're sitting
Yes.
there going, what exchange do I use? What wallet do I use? What chain do I use? And what protocol do I use?
Hmm.
And I think that complexity keeps a lot of people out.
Yes.
So we have the same people running around with the money flying around,
Right.
and yeah, the trend has not been in a good way from a transparency perspective. It's actually been the amount of information that people publish has been going down because they justifiably don't see a big profit for it. And with that, what we're doing is we're building a DeFi that is not very welcoming to new people, and especially now when things are bubbling, the numbers are
Yes.
going up. It's we're not in a position that will embrace new users when really we should be if you look at the how long we've been at it.
Right. No, fair enough. Now, with the prices of everything breaking records and everything else, are you seeing more people just kind of going after the money and after the raise than really putting it together something that's of real utility?
Um, there are some.
Hmm.
Term finance we worked with, Biconomy. There are aspects that really take doing everything right very, very seriously. And you've got organizations like Aave and Compound and Uniswap that
Hmm.
were diligent in the beginning and have remained so.
All right.
Um, but there are an awful lot. There was a rect on today about a new protocol that was it was just, there's a lot of the hacks that are happening
Hmm.
fundamentally sloppy.
Right.
The people should have known better because it's an attack that has been done before on that software.
Right.
But the attitude is, I'm just going to deploy fast. I'll either make good money or it'll all die, and then I just move on and try again.
Right.
So, and once again, it's not welcoming to other users because the developer doesn't lose much.
Right.
Maybe the people putting in the LP might, but they get out generally so quick.
Hmm.
So it's more, various users that are plugging in that are losing. And even if they haven't, if you see that, it's just another point to say, I don't want to be there. And what I would love is that we're able to get a quality level up where people would know, if you don't see this badge on
Yes.
the protocol, don't touch it. Just
Right.
it's, but we're just not there yet.
Okay. So if you could wave a magic wand and then just fix one thing in the industry, it would be that protection of the badge of that
Yeah,
test.
on chains, on wallets, on exchanges, and all of the organizations already exist,
Hmm.
but their voices are so small that it's very difficult, so that people aren't able to find them.
Okay.
Like, have you talked with CCSA or CoinSpect?
I've talked to CoinSpec, not on this show yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, because actually CoinSpec just released a stupendous wallet ranking strategy.
Oh,
So they've
interesting.
got a page where they rank wallets with
Hmm.
all of the up-to-date elements and say, this is what you need to operate safely with a wallet.
Oh, fantastic.
But
Okay.
I think the trouble is it's all just sort of so slow. I'm trying to get, I would say the biggest thing that will help the whole DeFi infrastructure and my business specifically is to try and get the idea that we need to have this quality layer to help everyone.
Of standardization, right?
Yeah,
So even like older platforms like Yahoo Finance have like standardizations for specific things in that industry. So we're looking to kind of have that sort of similar thing in the DeFi space, right?
yeah. I mean, standardization is more difficult because you're not going to change the fact that anyone can deploy anything.
Yes.
But if there's badges where people validate that these people have done all of these best practices,
Hmm.
and they have a time lock on their contract change, so they can't just flip it from good to bad in 1 minute,
Right.
then you're able to say, okay, this is safe to use.
That
That's the
makes
type
sense.
of, but at the moment, I actually have a badge like that,
Hmm.
but the protocols were like, nobody knows what this is. I'm not going to push it. And so they sort of didn't see the point. They certainly didn't see it as something that they would pay us for.
Right.
And they were both basically, they were saying, well, if I put this in, how many clicks are you going to give me?
Right. Well, what do you
And
think? What do you think is it that would cause people to utilize the badge system and for the outside, just regular users to educate around the badge system? What is it you think is
I
missing?
think the most, the people that will really drive it
Hmm.
are the big liquidity providers.
Okay.
Because you think about a DeFi protocol, it's like,
Mhm.
if this guy says, look, I'll drop 100K into your protocol, but you have to have this,
Right.
then they'll do it. They're more than willing to work for money. That they understand.
So
I've been
perhaps like
trying
building
to
this
get
coalition
communication,
of folks
and if there
coming
are
in.
LPs that are here,
Yeah.
reach out. But so we've got the fabric of that for exchanges through CCSS and through protocols with DeFiSafety.
Okay. Well, that being said, I mean that's its own challenge unto itself. But what are you, so there's it's not all doom and gloom. What are you excited about? What are
Um,
you excited about in the space?
I mean, account abstraction, I think will help a lot
Okay.
once it gets fully implemented, and you're able to spread your keys out amongst your friends and peers.
Yes.
Um, Optimism is coming out with standardization on the super chain.
Okay.
Because right now, honestly, there's a lot of optimism chains where the software is different and you have no clue how
Right.
different it is. So that, but the super chain will allow a level of trust, and I'm sure Arbitrum will not be far behind.
Right.
Um, so I think on there, there's some really good levels of trust that are coming up. And I think, and L2 Beats is keeping a pretty good eye on what's going there, and they have
Mm.
a nice active website. They've figured a revenue method that works really well.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things there's a lot that's being fixed, but I think the quality level somehow we've got to build the trust back because we lost a ton of trust through Terra and FTX.
Right.
And the meme coin craze, it's not
Isn't
helping.
helping. Yeah.
It's not adding trust. It's not adding so we need to really, I think us as an industry need to really focus on this. This is something needs to be fixed so that people can come up. And there's a lot of people that need DeFi. There's a lot of people around the world where their banks are not working well for them.
Right.
And owning their own money is something that's really, really important to them. I mean, I'm in North America. You can talk about this to a North American, but their banks work for them. Um, and so mostly they trust. But there's a lot of people in the world where it's really bad. And
Right.
I'm really incentivized to fix these problems so that DeFi can really do what it was designed to do.
That makes sense. I just got off of another interview where a fellow was helping it so that for I guess money remittance, sending money back
Mhm.
home to your country, and then holding it within a stable coin made a big difference because the fluctuations of their forex was crazy. I think their buying power reduced by something crazy like 400%, in like a very short amount of time. So holding it within a stable coin, made sense in that sense. And so that sort of thing gives me hope, right? That there's actually
Yes.
utility behind
Yep.
that
Yep. Yep.
architecture saying, hey, this is actually useful.
Yep.
Um, if your currency, I think they were sending it to Africa, was that in flux, then it makes sense to utilize these architectures so that it moves less, right? So you
Yep.
spend it from that stable coin into whatever your fiat currency is at that moment.
When you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's holding in the stable so that it doesn't blow up when the currency goes up and down. So
Huge, huge advantage. And yeah, really, and the wallets, especially with account abstraction, the wallets are getting there. I mean, the amount of warnings that wallets give you now
mm,
is very high, making it
yes.
more difficult for scammers. That's excellent progress. So there's an awful lot that's going on, but the quality part is still, we still have to uh, uh, tag that. And so that's pretty much my mission.
Right. So tagging the quality, making sure the wallet is solid, making sure the infrastructure is solid, making sure
Yep,
there's, you're not falling for the same attack over and over and over again.
yep, yep,
Um,
yep.
yeah, you should learn from mistakes, right?
A lot
At
of
the end
it
of the
we
day.
do, but it's interesting. There are disadvantages to decentralization and permissionless contract deployment.
Mhm.
And those disadvantages are hurting us a lot right now.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Well, when you're not saving the world with your badges, what do you do for fun when you step away from
Oh,
the computer?
I mean, I'm curling in the summer and rowing in the winter, or strike
Interesting.
that, reverse it.
I was going to go other way around, right?
Yeah,
Okay, curling
yeah.
in the winter.
So that's what keeps me busy.
Where are you based out of that you play curling?
Yeah, Montreal.
Oh,
So
cool.
good
Fantastic. Well,
Canadian
fellow
sport.
Canadian. I'm based out of Vancouver. So
Oh, cool.
I tried curling for the first time the other day, and man, what a hard sport, right? Like
It's
it looks easy on TV. You're like, man, that's a light touch you got to have the
yeah,
stone stop
it's a light
exactly where
touch,
you want, right?
but it's a fun game. It's a
Oh,
fun
absolutely.
game, and you don't have to take it seriously. You can,
Yes.
and you can still have fun and have a drinks afterwards, and then go back and do it again. So it's a really nice way to get out of the house and get your head out of crypto and
Yes.
into something else.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good balance there, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so very cool. You save the world on one side, you throw stones on the other side, and enjoy a drink. That's a fun way to break the structure a little bit, just to break it up. You know, how you
Yep,
get some new ideas, right? Freshen up
100%.
life doing it that way. That's cool. The last question for the internet, and I enjoyed our conversation thus far, is, you know, give a reason for the viewership to come meet you. Like, so
So
other than, like, they want to come to you for safety, or should I use this protocol, should I use this wallet, coming to you for, like, hey, has this been tested, etc., etc.
yeah,
Is there other reasons for them to come to you?
yeah. One big thing that we just started with Compound, we're working on a big improvement on multi-sigs.
Okay.
If you look, like almost 50% of the security incidents right now are loss of keys.
Yes.
So for the multi-sig, we're adding in proof of distinct humanity, and we have a
Okay.
DeFiSafety process to do this, so each signer is a distinct human, and transaction signing policies. So if you look at what happened with Radiant Capital a couple months ago,
Hmm.
their computers were attacked, and even though they were doing, good standard procedures, they were doing transactions that looked like one thing but were actually something else.
Yes.
In there, if they had had a separate computer for multi-sig transactions, because there's a process to do it, then
Hmm.
they would have been safe from that attack. So
Right.
the
That makes sense.
idea of, if you look at wrecked articles and postmortems, most of the time they say they lost their keys, shrug, and then they talk about the way the money moved from address to address.
Right.
We need to, like we do with a software hack, we need to say, this was wrong, this is what you do next time. And having a transaction signing policy means, I will do this, I will use a hardware key, I will use an independent
Mm.
computer, I will use this wallet. And then if there is a failure, then you look at the procedure and go, okay, what went wrong? What do we improve? And you're getting
Right.
better. Right now with the
What
lock
is that
keys,
quote? I will strive to make better mistakes tomorrow, I
there
think is
you
how it
go.
goes, right? So fantastic. Well, so for people to reach out to you, how do they find you, Rex?
So Rex at DeFiSafety.com.
Okay.
Our Telegram is very active. We are on X, but for me, X is more a broadcast platform than a
Okay.
communication platform. So Telegram is mostly the way that people can find us at
Fantastic.
Chinka Rex.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'll put your details in the show notes so people can get a hold of you.
Excellent.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. And, I really like the fact that you're trying to make the world a safer place.
Thank you much. It's
So
going to happen.
I believe it. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Errol. Take care.